All right, so everybody please give a warm digital welcome to Kevin Pollak.
Hello. Welcome to a special edition of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show at the Digital Content Newfront. Today, my guests are Teri Hatcher, Lisa Kudrow, Ben Silverman, and Ricky Van Veen.
Please welcome actor and host of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, Kevin Pollak.
That cost $100,000. Did it look good? Hello, this is exciting. Boy, oh boy, do you feel it? It's crazy. There's so many geeks in New York right now. This morning, I gave myself a wedgie so I'd fit in. Wow. Look up from your iPhones, you fucks. I came to kick some internet ass. That's why I'm here. Actually, I have a new app for the iPhone. You're going to be very excited that allows you to make a phone call. So first, all the guys, ladies, you tend to have a purse and in most cases class, but the men will carry the cell phone in the front pocket. This is my favorite thing. And every day, you fellas are doing a flawless Robert De Niro impersonation, whether you knew it or not. What happens is the cell phone will vibrate from a text or an email, or God forbid, some asshole from 1984 is calling you. Don't call me, seriously. Write me. I don't have time to talk. So the phone will vibrate, and then you'll all do the De Niro face. When retrieving the phone, it starts with this move. Vibrate, and then... Yeah. The premise being, I don't have time to take it out of my pocket. I'm just going to look. There's your De Niro face. I'm very excited. Yes, the Kevin Pollak Chat Show, she mentioned the movies. That's very sweet of her. I don't know how many there are either. 61. But, you all right? But the Chat Show, the 2010 Streamy award-winning Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, is strangely becoming my legacy. You know, we just kind of threw it up there without any publicity or marketing, and one of those if you build it, they will come kind of deals. And within a couple of months, made column 1, front page above the fold, the LA Times. Unfortunately, nobody reads that fucking paper. So I got 7 phone calls. But still, physical evidence of what the show was capable of, which was awfully exciting without a publicist or a marketing division. And my internet mini-mogul jerk partner, Jason Calacanis, and I are now blossoming that out to this weekend, a series of these kind of talk shows about various topics and whatnot. But the Chat Show has now blossomed into this weekly wonderful thing. And upcoming guests, Craig Ferguson, Paul Rudd, oh gosh, there's a whole bunch. Just go to kevinpollakschatshow.com and you can find out. But today, we have a panel of people who are also attacking the interwebs from the traditional media world. I also love that it's louder backstage now. That's a good sign. Because before it was... Anyways, we're going to bring them out and have ourselves a little chat here. So please welcome my guests today. They are Lisa Kudrow, Teri Hatcher, Ben Silverman, and Ricky Van Veen. Yay! All right, please. Everyone has their individual microphones, and they put the tables just far enough so that you couldn't reach them without falling over. Welcome, first of all, one and all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a little dossier on each of you that I like to prepare before all the chats. How bad are these chairs, by the way, right? Oh, my God. This is the chair you never get up from.
I'm going to do the interview like this.
Yeah, well, they don't have a problem with that. You stay right there. I think I got them up from the iPads. We'll see. Ben, let's start with you just for a moment, if we may. You know, you've been a pioneer, of course, in brands with content, going back to your first project, The Restaurant. Was that the first internet?
NBC.
NBC, I mean, yes.
Yes, but
Now, the first thing I wanted to ask, actually, because you guys are partners now in an awfully exciting venture. Why don't you start by telling them a little bit about it? I know they have a little clip thing that they want to show at some point. Do you want to show that and then talk, or talk a bit and then show it?
Yeah, so I think the clip is about College Humor and Notional, which are two of our properties.
I haven't seen it, hence a partnership.
Well, then let's not show the damn thing.
I like it. I trust him. I trust him.
Full trust.
All right, sure. Let's throw it up and give a little gander, and then you can tell us a little bit about it. We'll share a little information. Now is good, by the way. There we go. So Electus is the larger company.
Yes, yes.
So tell us what your first agenda is with Electus, and then we'll talk afterwards about bringing branded and advertisers to it.
Yeah, well, Electus's mission statement is really around building multi-platform content directly with advertisers, oriented towards the fact digital delivery has changed everything in how both advertisers reach their consumer and how content creators and storytellers reach their audience. And we believe there's a great opportunity to address both those needs in a combined effort, very similar, and we talked about this, and it's a theme echoed a lot, to the birth of television and the partnerships that were formed as TV originally hit the masses are the same partnerships that need to be formed as new technology and new distribution platforms are developed. We need to work together to collaborate with the best of the best across Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and Madison Avenue to really drive forward and take leadership positions in the next phase of content creation and marketing and advertising.
Yeah, people do forget that the soap operas were actually created in the 50s by a soap detergent company. They weren't dreamed up by a writer or a showrunner or a network. It was a brand that was looking as any way to reach a new audience, quite frankly, and created what now not only has been thriving in daytime for 50, 60 years, but in prime time as well. So it is a matter of involving them from day one in how to best get their product across within the original content world.
Yes, or just even affinity around a demographic need. We work with one of those companies that pioneered the soap opera, Procter & Gamble, and they have a whole unit called P&G Productions.
Right.
So they are really dedicated and focused on it in a real meaningful way, and understand, as the media companies and Hollywood studios have known for years, that there is risk involved in funding the development and production of content, but coupled with media power, you can define distribution and really mitigate a lot of that risk. And so I think it's about kind of breaking down silos for shared goals. The storytellers, we just want our stuff seen by as many people as possible and don't want to be limited to one walled garden.
Right.
We want to be everywhere, and we want to work with people who share that same goal for the stories that we're going to tell.
Do you find it difficult breaking down the traditional media needs for the demographic numbers? There seems to be a gap that is still being bridged. I know, just standing outside there in the hallway, that so many of the advertisers are concerned in the way that they've been for so many years in traditional media with the breakdown of the numbers and how different it is now. We were speaking earlier about the New York upfronts for broadcast television have been bragging about their Hulu numbers and their iTunes numbers for the last several years because their live views just aren't matching the needs of the advertisers.
I mean, I think what networks can do is events, like event programming, like gathering masses around one specific moment.
Right.
Whereas Hulu can't do that. And Ben's obviously the expert on that more than I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, we were talking outside, and the numbers of what a hit show is. I have the #1 comedy on Thursday night. Lisa was part of the #1 comedy on Thursday night, and my show, The Office, has 1/3 the ratings of Friends. So there's clearly a downward proportional trajectory as there are more and more options. We're not multiplying as a population base to meet all the options and retain the same numbers. And the question we always ask when we look at The Office, though, is what would the cumulative audience of that show be if you did include its iTunes and its non counted ratings that are still within a week or two, and where all those numbers meet the road. And what it's I think it's also just all about what is the future going to be and playing for the future and not having to hold on to an entrenched thing. And the bigger you are, the harder it is to kind of change quickly to meet the future. And so that's what we're really enjoying being part of, and I think all three of you coming from that establishment are enjoying being part of, and really appreciate the advertisers who have pioneered so much of those opportunities for storytellers to be able to tell their stories to the masses.
Yeah, now Lisa, you, for example, created a web series called Web Therapy, and it is about to come to broadcast television as a next phase of it. But initially we were talking backstage about how you designed it to be shot and be viewed on a 50-inch TV at home. And a lot of the folks here must know by now that by year's end, every new television made will have internet access, the same way that you would pull up a cable show. You'll be able to watch all these internet shows. So tell us about your process of creating and what you were looking to do with Web Therapy originally.
Well, aside from the technical aspect of, we didn't know where it would end up, and that's why, to be safe, we wanted to shoot it with the best production value possible so that it could be broadcast and look good. We had a film editor editing it. I mean, we really had the best of the best. But as far as the idea goes, I just thought it was a really funny idea and just a hilariously horrible idea to offer 3-minute therapy sessions to people who are at work and, could have therapy for 3 minutes and say, well, I did that. I did therapy. And it evolved into, this character who's just a horrible, the key word is horrible.
Yes.
A really self-serving, horrible person. And we just thought it was really funny. And it was something that I knew in 2008. We understood this could never be on TV. No way. It's two people on an iChat.
Right.
And, maybe it'll work, for 5 minutes at a time.
Sure.
And as we saw that you string them together, like we had to package them for iTunes, and I saw that people would report that they were watching a whole season at a time.
Absolutely.
And then I saw that people were actually watching longer things. Over the past couple of years, movies and entire TV shows on Hulu and all of that.
Right.
And I think, that's when, Showtime thought that it could work on Showtime. But we're doing additional material as well so that it's a half hour.
More than 3 minutes is what you're saying.
Well,
I think
it'll
it's time
still be the
Showtime.
same format. It's still going to be iChats, but, with extra material in there.
Right. Get Hatched. Let's talk a little bit about that, if we could, please. What the original design and thought behind it were.
GetHatched.com. So I feel like it is so interesting. You have this long career that allows you to meet so many different people and sort of amass so many different experiences, some of them good, some of them bad, and all the lessons you get from that. And I think, as a woman, I wanted to create a site that was a real sincere voice. I mean, I think that's how I am in my life, like not afraid to talk about things that women are really talking about, but nobody really seems to show that.
Right.
And wanted that sincere, honest, support group, but all with humor, which for me, just everything comes from that sort of self-deprecating kind of, I'm just like you humor. And I think, for me, you have this sort of celebrity on the front that kind of appears to be one side of me, and the other part is I'm, single, breadwinner, mom, all the complications that go with that. And I think all women are, trying to find balance in their life, trying to find a way to nurture themselves while they nurture everyone else, and need help, they need insight, they need a laugh in the day.
Right.
So I came up with this idea, Get Hatched, and I went to disneysfamily.com, which is already, reaches millions and millions of moms. And they provided a really great umbrella for me to grow under. And we are sort of branching out from just identifying women as moms to really reminding them to rediscover really the woman inside, so that you've got all the labels of yourself. When we shot the ad for it, which is Miss, Mrs., Mom, Me, I had this idea that famous National Geographic of the ape growing into the man, shot. So there's a shot of me kind of on the ground with a lot of hair. No, I'm just kidding. On the ground, here, like sort of identifying all those labels of a woman, and then getting to the me part, which is the empowered woman, and how that's the kind of content we have on the site. And it includes video.
Right.
I do my own talk show in my house called In the House.
In the house?
In the House.
That's great.
And I've had great celebrities on it so far, and we all do a lot of talk shows, have done that in our careers, and I thought it would be, having been on that side so much of sort of performing those comedic little stories with an audience and a comedic host, I thought it would be great to have the intimacy of being in my house. So It has great production value, like you talked about. So it looks great. Everyone feels safe because it's well edited, well lit, all that. But there's not all the producers and people running around, and you really get some really fascinating stuff. Annie Duke was on my show.
Oh, great! Yeah, she was a great guest for me
we
too.
both play poker. So talk about that. Sorry.
I had Annie on too, and she is fantastic.
She is such a fantastic.
You talk about empowerment and really taking the reins of one's destiny. And by the way, for a lot of us coming from traditional media, it is about, if you're not creating, you're waiting, and so much of show business is waiting. And I think the internet represented not just a home for original ideas, creative content that was had more freedom and control, and in many cases ownership. I think that's got to be my agent.
You're doing well.
Trying to get a piece of this, right? Because that's one Starbucks. We found this sort of creative nirvana, offering control and freedom and ownership. But also, I just co-created and directed this little web series called Vamped Out, and the time from inception to being online was a little under 5 months. And that too doesn't exist. And executed with, Academy Award winners involved in certain technical areas of the production. Just to let you know how focused we are all in the quality of what we're doing. We don't think in terms of, well, this is going to be on their iPhone. It is, God willing, and you have an app that I want to talk about also. But it's also going to be on that home plasma or LED screen, whatever you're getting. Talk a little bit about the app, because this is another phase of taking the idea of your created show to the next level, and also branching out into all of the internet formats, including the mobile.
Well, just like with web therapy, just thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if there was this thing where you can type in your issue to Fiona Wallace, and then, you get some random, sort of like a magic 8-ball response that's very hostile. And so that's going to be out June 15th. And it really is funny. I mean, it cracks me up. I forget all the things I said. But,
right.
But it's really funny, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, it is a fun game. That is the part of it. I was playing a little bit of backstage. We play a game on my chat show called, it's a tweet game called Tyra, Paris, or Demi. And Sam Levine will host it, and he will read a tweet, and then my guest and I will ring in and then try to guess if the tweet was written by Tyra, Paris, or Demi. And so we just made a little phone app, too, that's now at iTunes called Who Tweeted. You're welcome. Talk a little bit about College Humor in terms of the viral video experience and expanding that out into network and online.
Yeah, so originally College Humor started off and it was a repository for user-generated photos and videos and articles, and we're actually one of the first user-generated sites online. But when we were acquired in 2006, we started to be able to think long-term because we had the resources to do that, and we started making original content. In hindsight, that turned out to be a great idea because 2006 was also the year that YouTube came out and Google Video, and you could no longer compete with user-generated content because it was completely commoditized. If it was one place, it was everywhere. So we started getting into making viral videos. And now we're doing a lot more with those viral videos. We're getting more into series. Series traditionally are really hard to do online just because you're competing, when you have a scripted series, you're competing with TV. So you have to make it either remarkable or you have to use the platform of the web in a cool way that can't be done on TV. Because you're literally competing with Lost. Lost is the same price as for someone is seeing one of our videos. So we're playing around with that. We're also getting into paid iTunes downloads.
Yeah.
Taking series. We have a series called Jake and Amir, which gets hundreds of thousands of views every episode.
Jake and Mary?
Jake and Amir.
Jake and Amir, right.
Yeah, and so the question is, will that fan base also translate to the iTunes store? And I think whereas a couple of years ago it might not have, I think now with the iPad, these paid downloads might just become like ringtones were a couple of years ago, where people just download them because it's easy and it's just on your phone bill or on your iTunes bill and you don't even have to think about it. So we're doing that, and then we're also starting to fund our own features and do more TV.
A lot of it is about building a community.
Yeah.
First you have the product, first you want to create content, and then it instantly seems to be about building the community out as a blogger initially, and then offering up these shows and various content. And I know advertisers are always interested in reaching a community of people or a demographic, if you will. Could you speak to building the community?
Well, with also what Ricky and his team have done is a little bit in the old studio system model. He has a brilliant group of writer, director, editor, producers, and many times people from the advertising world are looking to capture these great voices who are executing this high-end comedy material and work within both the framework of the destination and community, as in audience reach of the College Humor fan base, but also the community of creative people Ricky's assembled, and are doing more work. If in the short video, the work done around the Bing ads inside the taxi cabs, which I'm sure many of you have seen driving through New York, and some work for the MSN homepage and other outlets, are all produced by Ricky's team, and they're working with a number of other key marketers in developing branded content that taps into the community on College Humor, but that community also lives on YouTube, where it's a top 20 destination channel, and that community also lives in the social network that's attached to College Humor, and that community goes viral in really unique ways.
Having that fan base has proved to be crucial for us. We have the number 11 channel on YouTube, so that means, if we have a video, we can put it in that channel, and even if it's static, it would get hundreds of thousands of views.
That's a good idea.
Lots of static. Yeah, so
Getting back to Lost for a second, you were the original smoke monster. Is that also true?
J.J.
Abrams. All right, so talk about building community. Either of you who would like to jump in on that. I know as a blogger, Terry, that you know from your own experience what it's like to put out not just thoughts and ideas, but stories, and have a community just sort of build organically from that.
Yeah, honestly, I have not been on the forefront of the celebrity who's been tweeting about, when I'm having coffee and walking my dog.
Good for you.
I know, right? Yeah. And I wanted, when I got involved in that, for it to have meaning. So, right. I really do feel organic about the story I'm telling for women, the story I want to provide and have Disney as a partner provide. about everything that matters to women, but to do it in, you know, an accessible, fresh, entertaining way. So I first wrote, the first thing I wrote was I wrote my book, Burnt Toast and Other Philosophies of Life, a few years ago, which did really well and kind of embraced the idea of not eating the burnt toast, which my mother used to do, and I sort of think societally women take the worst of things and have trouble balancing how to take something for themselves without guilt. And then I started writing some for Glamour magazine and other magazines. And so that kind of producer, like you talked about, creator brain, we're not just, even when we have a job, like I have a day job, which I love, but it's not necessarily accessing that creator self-starter side of me.
Right.
And the part that makes me feel like I love women. I want, you know, the philosophy of women being an empowered group and helping provide that for them and for myself. I want, that's something that's real for me and I'm passionate about it. So I started really for the first time blogging, if you call it that. It's so silly because I'm so behind the times, but I'm blogging on this site, but I don't blog like, you know, again, here's how I feel about this and I'm at the grocery store. Like, to me, there are opportunities to write interesting, clever essays, you know, and I'm finding that women are commenting on that, and then those link to other women on our site. We have really great women authors who write essays on the same subject matter, and that all links and kicks around back and forth between Facebooks and everything. So it is a broad community. But you were kind of, you know, talking about advertisers, and I just wanted to mention that, I mean, it's so exciting to go back to what you were saying about television and advertisers. Yeah. It's exciting to see, you know, I think any product that sells, it's some, you know, smaller percentage about the product and mostly about the feeling that comes with buying the product. Like, exactly. That's what's exciting. And I feel like there's so many opportunities to create, you know, integrated content. I always lean to the funny too, you know, I mean, it sounds like everybody up here is sort of going towards funny, and that's what we respond to. But, you know, how you can put that story of something like, for me, with my site, something that's helpful to women, a product that helps their lives, balance their lives, but integrate it in with, you know, something that's funny, and create that product, create something scripted. There's one of the main questions we ask, like almost everyone that comes as a guest in any form on the show is like, what would you rather have, 8 hours of great sleep or 8 hours of great sex? So it didn't show that, because that's been a big hit with women and men.
Great 8 hours of great sleep or great sex?
Yeah, what would you rather have?
Oh my, well, I don't want to die, so I have much better sex when I'm sleeping anyways. There's no off switch, it just comes right out. We have a clip of web therapy. We've talked a little bit about it, so I think we should definitely take a look at that, please. If that's loaded up, let's do that. Now is good. Blagojevich! The best.
It's 3-minute sessions, which is why it works. It's like having a gun to your head. You're forced to get to the issue.
Two-faced, conniving therapist!
And a little bit of this. Huh?
You're a sick girl. What do? Give advice?
So you just say words, and you hope at the end of the sentence they make sense.
I am a mad skull! I feel like $100.
You're a horrible, horrible woman!
Oops. Oops.
Do you think I'm too pretty?
There does seem to be certain issues with narcissism.
You do?
She doesn't seem helpful at all.
No, she seems horrible.
Horrible. I know, I forgot that said horrible almost as many times as I said it, but...
You know, the production value is quite exceptional, and seeing it on these screens, the fact that it isn't diminished at all, does speak volumes to what you were just talking about earlier, is that's another hurdle for, I think, a lot of advertisers to embrace, which is just what the hell is this thing going to look like that I'm getting myself involved with?
Yeah, well, I mean, they should care, because it does seem like what you were talking about. It's more about affiliation, brand affiliation, than an outright plug or big push.
Right.
So, yeah.
So for a lot of us from traditional media that have stepped into new media and refused to wipe it from our shoe, I will wait.
It's trickling to the back of the room.
Yeah. It's nice to be ahead of the curve, quite frankly, but as the curve is catching up, honestly, this, I guess, was the third annual, and they were saying the difference between the third year to the second year and the first year, rather, they were saying, you know, people were like, hey, what is this thing you're talking about? And then last year was, yeah, that sounds like it's really coming along. And then this year was, how do I get in? Which tells you not just the exponential, but also the enormous leaps that are taking place.
Smaller
critical
venue.
mass is happening. Smaller venue, yes, that's how you keep them out. It used to be the rope, now it's just a smaller venue. But we've sort of helped, in a sense, to put a face on traditional media coming to new media, and I think the rest are coming hard and fast who bring with them backgrounds in traditional media or famous faces and creativity in traditional media. It feels though we're at the precipice. So what would you say, the next year going to bring us in terms of where we've come from and where we're headed?
The transformation is exponential, but it's still 5 or 10 years. You know, Ricky and I have a belief that everything will eventually be distributed over the internet. And seeing the evolution of the Android operating system and the software-led marketing of, you know, the Apple phone and what's going on inside internet-enabled flat screens and the potential battle around net neutrality versus not net neutrality, and all of those decisions that are at a regulatory level, but also at a accelerating speed to market level are going to eventually be caught up to by storytellers who want to play in those new environments and play in a way that Ricky mentioned, you know, contextualized for those environments so that what we are developing can exist in all three environments, but it has adaptation for one environment over the other. A mobile environment for a piece of content should be different than the flat screen environment for the piece of content in terms of what it can do around it if it's adjustable. So I think I don't think 1 year will look drastically different from this year. I just think it's that continued momentum towards this. We always talk about if we woke up and read that Google had acquired Disney or, you know, that version of AOL Time Warner today, what would we think about that? Would we go, oh wow, that looks smart, or would we, you know, think what we thought before and nervous about it? You know, so it's like timing feels like a huge part of this to your 3-year plan.
Huge part of it, yes. And it is about taking content to every platform.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, with Ben, I think it's still a very slow process. You can tell that because right now, everybody at least everyone I know who's creating content for the web, TV and film are still their ultimate destination. And we'll know that a real change has happened when the web becomes the destination, where, you know, a young kid with a camera, you know, doesn't really think about how do I get to TV. He thinks about, you know, how do I best distribute my stuff online, and that's the goal.
Right. It does seem a part of the next generation. I will tell you, for what I was saying earlier about creative freedom and control and ownership, when my partner and I created Vamped Out, this web series, when the idea was just spilled out on this lunch table, basically we're coming to lunch and I saw yet another billboard advertising a vampire television series. And we sat down saying, seriously, another vampire series? And my friend said, could you imagine with all the series and movies out right now about vampires, if you were a real vampire right now? Who couldn't get hired to be one? Because you don't look tired and thin? So if you go to Babblegum.com, you can see Vamped Out, where I play this documentary filmmaker following around this vampire. So the thing was, when he said that at lunch, we started laughing, and my girlfriend said, that'd be a great bit for your act, Kevin. And I said, no, that's a web series. And I wasn't thinking about creating a web series at that point, but what I was thinking about was this idea is something I don't want the networks to add water to. The networks have an uncanny ability to find the core, the heart, the soul, whether it's funny or dramatic, and find that it is a genius savant level of ability that they have of finding the core and then adding the pitcher of water right to it so that it reaches a larger audience. And I thought, this is a niche idea, and I want complete and total freedom to be as funny and weird as possible. And so the notion was not to pitch it around town, anywhere else. Let's make this, and sure enough, we found a home in Babblegum.com where they like to do smart comedy, which was something we wanted. Total creative freedom, even though they were flipping the bill for the production. There was ownership for us. We shared some of that with them, of course. But that sort of environment for a creative person, trust me, everyone from traditional media is headed this way because these opportunities don't exist there. And
no, but then also it can stay on long enough so that you really know what you're doing. People can find it. TV can't afford to do that anymore.
Right.
So it's not TV's fault. I mean, they're not, the enemy of creativity, but it just feels like they don't have time for a Cheers.
Yeah,
to find its audience after 4 years and then reap the benefits.
The mechanism
feels like.
has gotten tighter.
But that's what's so fantastic about the internet for now. I mean, maybe in a year it'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
It won't, No, you only got 80,000 hits, so you're out.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
Yeah, you idiot! How dare you only get 1 million views in 1 week? Yeah, no, it is definitely a case of they have their, broadcast television has their needs, and it's all based in a mechanism that has evolved in its own path, and we are at the beginning of the evolution of this particular creative path. But the lifespan is a very good point in terms of content. I'm getting emails all the time. I just discovered your chat show and blah, 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 blah. It's been around for 14 months, and the archived episodes are on iTunes, and they're on the website, and people find it as they find it, and that's how you reach critical mass, is by staying on. Yes. Would you care to address that, Ms. Hatcher? Not at all. Good.
I agree.
Yes. That is all the time we had, actually, for that answer. No. What is next, gentlemen?
No, actually, I do have something to say. No, just really, I don't know if this is how you feel about your guests on your chat show, but I do feel it's the truth that archive ability, it allows you to promote your product, to promote your cause in a much longer lasting, wider reaching way than your 4-minute segment on Letterman at 11:52 on Thursday night. And so there is a benefit, I think, for us creating the shows, but for the people to come beyond them with us,
For the film studios, what made their value when you would see one of them go up for sale was their library. Well, I didn't realize that I had an opportunity to own a library of creativity from my own hands and thoughts and alleged talents. But it is because of the library that exists now with the chat show that Amazon.com came along and said, we would like to have your library available to our 75 million views a month. And I said, go fuck yourself, seriously. I don't like your tone of voice. No, but I own a library. Well, how the hell did that happen? That these people would care so much. So yes, that's amazingly exciting as well.
I like that response. Offer you couldn't refuse. But the interesting parallel to that value that you're creating in the library is the value that's diminishing for MGM and Miramax are on the block right now and in the process of long sales processes that would have been defined purely on their library value. So just as there's this democratization and opportunity, you also could make your shows at a price point that adjusted to the environment, as I'm sure the price point is on your series and I would imagine around your site and talk show. And I know from the difference between what we make on College Humor versus the comedies we make for networks, there's a 10x differential. And so that's also making it survivable and longer lasting and making it easier for partners to come in and support it because you don't need $25 million to do it, you know, and I think that it's an interesting shift, though, because will those 50, 60, 75, $100 million bets on the movie side, or, you know, Tim Kring's series, as he mentioned, you know, that's $50 million for 13 episodes. Will that continue to be funded in this brave new world? Is an interesting.
It is.
To look at it as well.
Last thoughts? Ricky Van Veen, one of the best names in the world.
Thank you. Last thought.
Final thoughts, roundup? Where you got the shirt? Anything really we're looking for?
8 hours of sex or sleep.
Exactly. 8 hours of sex or sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the first one.
Oh, nice.
I think he's young enough.
He's young.
He's 5 years out of college.
He's young. He's going to go sex.
Exactly.
Ben, what about you?
Alternating minutes. I think that...
Are there rollover hours?
No alternating, no rollover.
That's like when the tank gets empty. You know, it's really great to see a full room of people in an event tailored at the convergence of this space. And I would just say that it requires collaboration and requires patience, but the future is upon us, and we will inherit the success together. And we are 100% convinced, speaking from this side, and imagine you both are with your calendars and lives to come here and talk about this, that this is happening, and this is something we're excited about, and we're reaching out as a community of storytellers to say, we want to work with you, we want to hear what you need, we want to tell you how we go through process, and we want to find the best distribution for what you and we want to accomplish. And if we start that process together, we can have all that conversation informed by each other's needs. If we start that process after our ideas have been funded by a third party and they come to you fully baked, it's a much different conversation.
The geek are inheriting the earth. I want to thank my guests and all of you for allowing us into this room.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
A pro.
Ben Silverman, Terry Hatcher, Lisa Kudrow, college humor guy whose name I forgot. Thank you, everybody. Hey, you know, you guys did well. You got some of the best laughs of the day, by far.
You're welcome.
Yes, you're welcome. Very good. Good job. Okay, it's almost ready. It's almost time for your disco nap. That's a little break. You just kind of rev up again for the night at the disco, because I saw, the good news is they are setting up for cocktails. So, because remember, Mommy needs her medicine. But we're going to just show you, oh my God, thank you. We got a showcase to show you. It'll be one of these things that comes on, and for about 10 minutes, it's people's little sizzle reels. So watch that, and then when it's done, you can go out and get some water and fan yourself and look at the rain we're all missing.